Welcome. Over the Top Podcast. It's your boy HD in the building with the Over the Top Podcast crew. Hey guys, again to WDJY 99.1 FM. Welcome to listen to us. Thank you for your support. And again, guys, if you find value in what we bring a friend, tell a friend. Come and join the movement of the Over the Top Podcast. And let's introduce our panel today. Q, what's going on, sir?
He forgot it last week and he forgot it this week. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
No, actually, I don't forget.
Podcast on YouTube. OTTP Sports on YouTube.
Actually, I don't forget, but you do such a good job. I start out with you every week, so you go ahead and take that on. So great job, sir. RJ, what's the deal, man?
Hey man, loving life and processing it all. We got a new GM. Hey, game time. Y'all better get ready, Jack.
I know, right?
Wow, the football season over.
Okay.
Everyone on the smoke.
Right, what you talking about? The football season over. What you talking about?
Football season's over for you, sir.
It's been over for you since football season been over for you since September.
It doesn't matter. I didn't have a big head about it. I knew what it was.
Playmaker G, what's going on, sir? We continue. What's going on, sir?
Hey man, I'm doing great, man. Getting ready for this Black History Month.
Oh yeah. You got some plan for the History Month. You got so you getting ready, geared up, or you trying to do something different?
Yeah, I'm black. For those who don't know, I'm black.
Black history.
Yeah. If anybody had any questions at all that you black, okay.
For the audio only listeners.
For the audio only listeners, got you. And last but never not least, the lady of the crew, Lady Toya. How you doing, young lady?
I'm doing better now. Y'all done made me laugh. Y'all are lots.
That's what it's about. How things going your way?
Good. Business is good. Like G said, we're getting ready for Black History Month. We got some stuff in store for Black History.
American history is Black History Month, but we won't jump into that. We'll say that as we continue. But definitely. So that's what we got on deck, Toya. What to ask Toya? What we got on deck?
So we got to Ask Toya from our favorite Ask Toya person. Now you know. Okay, dear Toya, now you know I had to come to you with this question because of your love of knowledge of all things hip hop. Recently, Yassine Bank, Mos Def, did an interview with a young lady and she asked what he thought about Drake. His response to me wasn't disrespectful. So now a post has been made that says Drake and Wayne would go to jail for what they would do to Kweli and Mos Def in a verses. What are your thoughts about this? Signed the Hip Hop Group.
Like, is Drake hip hop?
Why are you doing this to me? Drake is pop to me. In the sense, like, if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
Commercial music.
Or it's music, shopping with an edge in certain instances.
Fair. I like Drake's music, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Of course. I mean,
it's commercial, entertaining, fun, good, formulaic music.
It's likable.
Likable music, yeah.
It's likable.
But is it... I'm gonna leave you alone. We're gonna move on.
So many products.
So many SKUs.
So many SKUs. Look at all these SKUs. Oh, so many products.
So much merchandising. So many barcodes.
I love this mall. Look at this place. I mean, look at this place. They have everything. Everything's here. They have everything here. Oh. This is great. This is a new Drake. You hear it? It's great. Okay. What happens when this thing collapses? What happens when the columns start buckling? Are we not in some early stage of that at this present hour? Are we seeing like the collapse of the empire? Buying and selling, where's the message that I can use?
Right.
You know, what's in it for your audience apart from like banging the pom-poms?
When you throw that Q, what's your thoughts? The young millennial. Hey, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
First off, audience, I want y'all to know this is a setup for me because these old heads don't listen to the two people that would win. First off, I'm gonna say Mos Def was right. I'm not gonna say he's wrong. Drake's a pop artist, but is that a bad thing? Pop artists can't be rappers.
He didn't
that's
say
right.
it was a bad thing, though.
No, he didn't. But so that's to everyone who's saying it was a bad thing. Drake's a pop artist. Drake's a rapper. Drake can do what he wants. You want to why? Because Drake sells. Second off, we were having arguments about what Lil Wayne would do to Jay-Z a few months ago. And whether you agree with it or not, there was an argument there. So what do you think Lil Wayne by himself, let alone what Drake would do? Then we're talking about music. Music is subjective. It's an opinion. But when you when you count Billboard hits, radio hits, yes, it would get dark.
Over
Okay.
Jay-Z or Mos Def?
No. Okay, further. While I do think Lil Wayne would beat Jay-Z, I'm not saying it'll get dark. That's a fight. That is a fight, and that is 100% opinion. This Lil Wayne, mind you, this is not just their own songs. This is songs that they're featured on.
Okay.
A lot of songs they have together.
Okay, let's get RJ. What your thoughts? Okay, I mean, to get somebody. Let's get other people's thoughts in this queue. What your thoughts, RJ?
I like Aubrey, man. I think he's a good artist, but I do understand where y'all sitting today is coming from. I think he's coming from a place of where he believes the essence of hip hop is and what expression is and means to him. And I think when you start thinking about traditionalists are always going to have an issue with people who take an art or a genre in a different direction. And so I think what Aubrey has done is a lot different than a lot of other people. He's almost like a crooner. He essentially takes the music and basically appeals to women in a different way than other men have. Like LL Cool J was a ladies love Cool James, but it was like a hard, aggressive thing. Big Daddy Kane was that guy, but he was like a smooth dude with a lyrical content that was a little different. But Aubrey is a little bit, Drake is a little bit more melodic, and so the approach that he's taking is a different aspect of it. So it would move into a pop genre to a certain degree, but at the same time, I think that's the beauty of what hip hop is. It encompasses a number of different things for all different people. So I like dude. I don't think he beats those guys because their art form is just their art form and some of the hits they have just to get by is dope. Miss Fat Booty is dope, classy. But a lot of kids may not necessarily like that in relationship to that. And what the essence of real hip hop means to us as older people. So I'm old head.
I'm old head. From the 90s.
Playmaker.
I would have to lean toward Drake and Wheezy. I mean, it's I was born the same year. I mean, I was born in respect. No, wait a minute. I'll give those guys their respect. They are lyricalists. I think it depends on the how you're doing the matchup. If you're doing just hit for hit, there's no competition. I mean, the library of Lil Wayne and Drake is just so extensive that I just don't think there will be a matchup there. Basically what Q said. Now, if they're talking about meaningful rap, educational type rap, then I think it will be a battle. But if you're just saying as a pure form of how the verses was, I just don't think it would be a matchup. I'm not going to say they'll get mocked because you only need 10 hits or so for a versus. You don't have to go to like the 35 or 40 range, but I do think that they have more to pull from out of their library. So I would go with Drake and Wayne.
My problem is off the gate is he. The question wasn't asked to Most Def what he thought about Wayne. The question was asked him what he called by Drake. Now, Drake. I understand Wayne, your boy, but I mean sometimes stand up for yourself. You ain't got to bring all these artists back to do a verse. You ain't got to drag them back.
Pause.
That's my opinion.
Drake didn't bring in Wayne. That was
The
the young people.
Oh, the young people. Oh, okay. So battle, yeah. Most Def, you're not gonna find a lot of most Def music played over the airwaves and the radio, but you're gonna find Drake's and Wayne's music played over the airwaves. Music wise, and he didn't say there was anything wrong with being pop. He do just like I don't think he said it was wrong with being pop, but for him, with Most Def, when you talking about hip hop, he's looking more of the conscious, the interior basis of the beginning of hip hop. So his origins and his mental space was different. So I don't really have a problem with that. But I do think Drake and Lil Wayne's catalog is extremely better than what unfortunately what most are gonna bring to the table because of the popular hits. So
I don't think their catalog is better at all. But I agree with you about if we're going on hits and radio play and all that BS, then yes. But we're not. The question was, first of all, there would be no verses with Drake and Lil Wayne against Mos and Talib. That's not even a matchup. They're not in the same category as hip hop. When you look at verses, the verses are usually amongst two competitors or groups that are in the same category. Mos and Talib are not in the same category as Wayne and Drake. That was just a ridiculous statement in itself because there's no comparison. Lyrically, if it was a lyrical battle, they both be clashed. They both be dragged out. Literally. And you cannot say if it was a lyrical battle that they would not. Now, Wayne maybe could hold his own, but Aubrey, I'm so sorry. He's the Garnier Fructose of hip hop. Stop it.
Why are we not calling him Drake?
Because I don't to call him Drake. He's Aubrey. He didn't start. He's Wheelchair Jimmy. He didn't start from the bottom and now he's here. No. He's Wheelchair Jimmy.
Well, he was on the Degrassi from the beginning, wasn't he? The Degrassi players.
The point is, I don't respect him enough to say, "Oh, Drake." His mama named him Aubrey. I'm gonna call him Aubrey, like Cash. Look. So,
go ahead, play.
If it counts on hits and stuff, yeah, but literally there would be no versus battle between these four people. They do not fall in the same quality or genre of hip hop. Usually versus is of the same quality and genre of hip hop. This is apples and oranges. So like it said when I posted this on my Facebook page, like y'all talking about McDonald's and we talking about soul food. Fuck out of here.
What you say, player, making it go to Quentin? Would you?
I just want to remind everybody that Drake does get his hands dirty when he needs to. He's been in some battles and some confrontations.
Explain something to you, sir. You have lost points tonight.
First off, I'm about to back him up. First off, Meek Mill ain't been the same since 2016, and the only reason Meek Mill. The reason all to do one because he just said, Drake, you have a child that you're hiding. Which, yeah, you won that. You won. But anyway, one more thing about Drake. Another thing we're forgetting. Drake just recently tied for the most Billboard hits of all time.
That's all well and good. Who cares? It's not.
Who cares? I tell you exactly who cares. When that was trending, there was people saying, let's go stream another Michael Jackson song so Drake doesn't tie it.
What you say, Ron?
I'm going to tell you something. one of the ghosts of the game, KRS-One, came out, and the Music Machine basically shut him down because he came in an era where positive hip hop was kind of being suppressed. And I remember Nelly, no pushback on Pimp Juice making his money, but he wrote a diss track to goddamn KRS-One, and it was horrible. And the pop radio station, and I remember this distinctly because I was out in San Francisco. This is one of them bi-coastal things when I was out in San Fran and they was playing it and they was talking about the pub of it. And what really got me was how they were giving the radio play to Nelly, who's a lesser artist. He's not anywhere near what Chris is. Yet
But it's
still,
pop. It makes money. That's the point, right?
and that's what I'm saying. The Music Machine is always going to play what they can push in relationship to the agenda. So when Chris came out with his song, it was dope. But the DJ said, he said, man, we would never really play this because it's not a pop song and it's not going to play well on the radio. So the essence of what it is that you look at when you start talking about hip hop versus charting a song, like even people say Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, yeah, he's an artist. He's a beautiful artist. Yeah, him and Prince are gonna do some pop songs, but they're also gonna do some songs that are essence and have funk to them, and they're gonna be for their fans, and they're gonna do things that, like, crossover hit Beat It or something like that. Oh man, great song. But then they come back with he comes back with Human Nature. Prince, Diamonds and Pearls. But then he comes back with Dove's Cry. All that's artist range. So I respect Drake for being that range of artists. But I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna put this out here in the truest context. When you look at Most and you look at Talib, when you put them on the screen, they scream hip hop. Everything about them when Most is in oh my God, what's the name of that movie? The heist movie with Mark Wahlberg. He screams hip hop. He embraces that role. Everything he's in, he does it with the essence and the level of excellence that is awesome. Talib too. So I think Drake is a hell of a performer. But I heard artists say, man, that's one of the worst concerts I've ever been to. So it's just a thought.
I'm not taking away from Aubrey. And
Me neither.
I'm
I don't
definitely
want
not
to
take away from Wayne. I'm not gonna take away from Wayne because Wayne is Wayne. There's things I like about him and there's things I hate about him. He's not somebody I'm going to listen to in a heavy rotation, but if I hear a song with him on it and he spits a hot 16, then all right, there you go. He did that. But I, like Ron said, the essence. There's an essence. There's a natural order to things in hip hop. And of course, we've gotten away from that order thing because the dollar is more than anything. But lyrically, there's no comparison. And that's why I say it doesn't really matter if we talk about it because they would never be on the same stage together. Because it's apples and oranges. It's soul food and McDonald's, literally.
Good question. Good question. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff.
It was a good question. It was a good question from the hip hop guru. The hip hop guru loves us. He be sending questions all the time.
Good ones.
But of course, if y'all can reach me at AskToya, TOIA74@gmail.com, or Ask Toya on Facebook, or our Over the Top podcast on TikTok, because those DMs are still open, but mine are closed. So I love y'all. Thank you. Keep the questions coming. We got another All Ask Toya show coming up, so we hope you keep the questions coming.
Good stuff. Hey guys, tonight we're going to talk about code switching. Code switching is the act of changing our behaviors, including speech, dress, mannerisms, to conform to a different culture norm than what we might authentically do in our own homes. when W.E.B. Du Bois wrote The Soul of Black folk, he called code switching the dually or double consciousness of black people living two worlds. It is particular since it is a particular sensation, this double consciousness, this sense of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others, measuring one's soul by the tape of the world that looks on in amuse, contempt, and pity. One ever feels his twoseness, an American and Negro, two souls, two thoughts, two unreconciled striving, excuse me, two unreconciled, I can't talk, two unreconciled strifings, two warnings, ideas in the dark body, whose dog strength alone keep it from being in tune. For some African Americans, this is the performative expression that has not only helped some of us thrive in mainstream culture, it has helped many of us simply survive. Code switching, which has been a strategy for black people to successfully navigate interracial interactions and has large implications for their well-being, economic advancement, and physical survival. Q, I'm gonna start with you. What effects do code switching have? Do you feel code switching have on our society?
Um, Code switching. I think people of color feel they need to code switch when they're surrounded by either A, Caucasian people, or B, people who they feel is of a higher echelon. Unless that person in the higher echelon speaks a certain way. They feel they need to talk proper. Quotation
Okay,
marks. Quote, talk proper is what they feel they need to do.
okay. T, I'm coming with you with this one. Do you believe that code switching is an essential part of advancement in in life or on life?
So I'm gonna come from this angle. When I got to Winston-Salem State, you got this 6 foot tall, dark skinned girl, and y'all hear how I talk. I'm a little bit more down now, but it was extremely proper. I didn't even cuss right because of where I came from. And it wasn't a code switching thing, it was just how I was raised in the environment that I was raised in and why I talk the way that I talk. But what I learned is that sometimes you do have to conform. We all speak differently when we're at work, but so do white people, certain white people. Um, we all, and I don't think I hate that thing. Oh, you talk so proper. I speak the King's English. So I don't know, this just English and that's the way I sound. But in certain things, in certain environments, when we were just talking about hip hop, we use our lingo, our slang, how we're comfortable with one another. But for women, black women, code switching is a thing because we're always considered aggressive or, agitated. We have a bad attitude. We're nasty. So when we're in the workplace, in our business life, out in the world, we try to, stay at a certain level until we can. But for the most part, it is essential to keep us safe sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
In our mannerisms out in the world.
Okay. Ron, I'm coming with you with this one. Some people believe that it's important to be able to change and adjust to their mannerisms to fit in any environment. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, I got an interesting story in relationship to that. Um, as a young man, I grew up in a different environment, like having great grandparents, and great grandparents that, you know, had home on Capitol Hill, exposed me to different things. My grandparents were a two-parent home, to going and living with my mom, who, after my parents got divorced, um, in the situations different than a lot of the situations that he lived in. Um, and living in Southeast Washington, I realized that a lot of people that I grew up around were in non-traditional roles and non-traditional families, right? And so what ends up happening when you have those people that grow up in those non-traditional roles, people adapt certain behaviors and certain actions to survive in those environments. And what ends up happening is you get an uptick in a little bit of an uptick in aggression, a little bit of uptick in the lack of discipline in some aspects of things, which creates people that have to navigate a different type of world. And in navigating that world, you have to understand aspects of things that are a little bit different than what you actually come from. The ability to assess an environment and assess the terrain and to be able to work with inside that terrain is a skill set and an understanding that we all need to have. If you're not aware of the environments that you're in, whether it be an educable environment, whether it be an environment where you're in the hood, whether it be an environment where you could be compromising your freedom, your ability to assess that is a key component. And part of the story is I've been in environments where I've had to adjust, and a lot of times when I go in as a professional, I go into places that are not necessarily typically nice for people to go into. I go into places that where people are undesirable. But I've also been in situations and circumstances where, man, my friends have shown their high paws, and I talked this out of getting kicked out of arenas. I almost got kicked out of homecoming one time, and I talked this out of getting kicked out of homecoming because I knew how to address myself. I talked so good, I got us back there to the promoter, and my drunk friend got to talk to the promoter when Keith Murray didn't come to Winston-Salem State. And then, and then after that, went into the party and had a good time. A lot of that is just the ability for you to have adaptability and understanding of what your environment and what environment you're in.
Good stuff. Playmate, gonna come with you with this one. Throughout your career in corporate America, have you experienced code switching for firsthand?
Yes, I mean, I think that in order to survive in corporate America, and depending on how your environment is set up, you have to do some sort of code switching. And I think there's a very fine line between code switching and being professional or professionalism. And I think a lot of times people confuse what is being professional versus what is code switching. And then I think that even with some of the guidelines that have been put in corporate handbooks, some of those things probably need to be investigated because you had things, for example, of covering up tattoos and different hairstyles and all that had to be cleaned up that we see that are historically were things that would keep you from moving ahead, but now those things have been eliminated. And even as early as I think it was 2020 when they were talking about getting rid of sensitivity training. You know, sensitivity training is also part of, you know, somewhat code switching because you have to make sure that you are being sensitive to the other people around you or people who are you may be working with or your coworkers. So I think that it has definitely played a part. I have seen it. I have even coached people how to kind of navigate through it. So yes, I do think you see it all the time in corporate America.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, T.
I think what Ron said too, it's the ability to adapt. So we have to think about when we think about our history and the ability that we had to have as being taken from and in a diaspora for all of us, and put into slavery and having to adapt. Not only especially when you're talking about getting your freedom, there was a lot of code switching going on. When we talking about running away, you had to learn how to adapt in your environment. It is a blessing that we know how to do that as a people because we're probably the only people who literally probably have, and I'm not going to say the only people, that's not true, because brown people, Native Americans, and indigenous people have to, we are that that minority that have to do that when we go into certain places and things. Knowing how to do that, it's not such a bad thing. I don't think that all the time when we say, a lot of people say code switching, it's like, oh, you let a white man get so much, you hate yourself. That's not necessarily what it is all the time.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm
Hey,
about to have to go in there to a
could
little
I
bit.
put a little adjunct on that? I think
Go
the
ahead.
one
Go
thing
ahead,
that's a
bro.
little different is this. The ability to have a level of economic viability supports having pockets of places where you can be safe and to function in an environment. And when you had the Harlems, you had the U Streets, you have some of these places where you can go into and make money and generate money in your community. Some of those things have really dissipated and gone away. And I think that those are the things that we have to really actually rediscover, that culture of doing things within inside of our functional communities to support the things we want and need. If we can think more in that realm and we can create those opportunities, I think we'll have a better we'll have places where we'll have safe places where we can effectively express ourselves and be who we are. And
What
that's
your
one of
thoughts
the
on that? Go ahead.
speakeasy or things of that nature. But yeah, I'm
What
sorry.
your thoughts on that, Q?
It's weird. That's basically. It's weird. Some people have to code switch. Is what is how I feel about it. I
Okay.
myself, no matter what room I'm in, there's gonna seem I'll be respectful, but I feel having to alter your whole speech pattern to cater to somebody you may never speak to again, or probably don't like in the first place.
You would have to alter your speech pattern, Quentin, because unbeknownst to you, you speak the king's language too, sir, very properly.
On here.
Code switching. Nah, I'm teasing. All right, gotta keep with the code switching can make some people feel as though they lost their culture or identity or abandoned their culture. Studies show that over time, the pressures to conform to a dominant culture can have a burnout or emotional exaltation effect. According to Talkspace, concealing aspects of your identity may result in the negative feedback from people who are part of your culture. Some African Americans who code switch are frequently accused of acting white. Code switching can also cause guilt and may cause people to withdraw socially. In the workplace setting, some research has suggested that code switching is an attempt to avoid or to prevent stereotypes or even resulting in work performance issues over time. Q, I'm gonna come back with you on this. Do you believe that code switching in certain situations, I think you expressed it is a bad thing? I think you kind of went over it a little bit with your other comment. But do you think it's a total bad thing to code switch?
Uh, don't shoot me for sounding hypocritical. I don't think it's a bad thing in certain situations.
Okay. Okay.
Example: if I meet the president, I'm not gonna talk too crazy. I'm gonna get unless we get comfortable. Once we get comfortable, what's up, Prez?
What's up, Joe? What's up, Joe? Hey,
But,
Joe.
yeah, but I'm gonna be respectful. You
Okay.
make it occasionally. I may slip something in and see how comfortable I can get. I got to see what the line is. But yeah,
Yeah,
after a while, yo, Joe, you got any more stimulus checks back that I can have?
I know. Go jump in that playmaker. What's your thought?
So, I mean, if you go up to a stranger in corporate America and say, "What's up, dog?" they may find that to be offensive. They may think you're not just, not a term of endearment, but you're calling them old junkyard dog. I mean, so it's things like that where your language can sometimes be perceived incorrect, or they may think that, hey, this guy may not be literate. They may even question, what based off how you communicate. So that's why I think in some cases, especially in the political in the corporate environment, not political environment, in the corporate environment, it is almost essential to make sure that your communication is being understood.
Be somewhere in HR talking about you just spoke to her. That's all we're doing, speaking now, man. Now I'm sitting in HR with a
Black
writer.
man called me a dog.
I think it's
Called me a dog.
I think it's extremely important.
What word he call you? I'm not allowed to say that word.
I'm not allowed to say that word. All right, Tim, go ahead, Ron.
I think it's extremely important to have adaptability, though, for all different types of people. Like, because the culture that we live in here in America is multifaceted. So it's not a lot of places where you're going to go that are common places that you're not going to have different types of people from different cultures. And the ability to be able to interrelate is an important skill.
Okay, good stuff. Hey, Tom, come with you with this one. Do you believe that a person who code switch too much lose their own authentic identity? Can you get lost in the sauce?
I know some people like that, but I don't think it's because of code switching. I think it's because they love white people so much they hate themselves.
Oh, okay.
I'm just being. I don't think it's code switching, but no, I don't think. Again, it's such a thin line on what it is and how you determine what you do and who you speak with. Because even if I'm in a room of elderly women of color, my mother, all of us, if we're in the presence of our mother, now, if we at home, I cuss, people get upset because I cuss in front of my mom, but our parents always gave us the ability to express ourselves the way that we wanted to. But if we're out and I'm with a group of her and her friends, I'm not talking crazy and like I talk with y'all. I'm being respectful because those are my elders and I respect them in a way that I'm supposed to respect them. Between, that you're supposed to respect your elders. So it like Ron said, it's the ability to adjust and adapt in different situations. Can you do it too much to where you lose your identity? I don't think so. I think, like I said, you lose your identity when you hate yourself. And you love the others more than you love yourself, basically. Okay. And lack of knowledge of self. That is where you're lost when you lose your identity. When you have no ancestral upbringing.
Okay, good points, good point. Ron, and looking at code switching from a mental health perspective, the idea that a person is hiding their identity could be a trigger for depression. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a heavy concept, man. And really thinking about it from this perspective, I want to put something out here. Paul Laurence Dunbar had a poem. What is the meaning of the poem We Wear the Mask? We Wear the Mask is a poem that's about the lives of Black individuals in the United States after the Civil War, when there's segregation. And the speaker and his intended audience wear a mask that shows them to be happy and content while suffering inwardly. There's an aspect of what we deal with on a daily basis that we always are tasked with coming to grips with, that no other ethnic group on this continent is tasked with coming to grips with. And that we were forced here. And our ability to adapt in this environment, being forced here, is a little bit different than anybody else. And that adaptability has us having an uneasy alliance with a place where our blood was the first one spilled at the beginning of the Civil War. Yet still, we've never received equal citizenship or recognition of who we are as human beings on a consistent basis. So much so that they don't even really want to teach history anymore, true history. We're in a different time right now, a different time than I thought that we would ever be in my lifetime. Because I've seen the arc and the pendulum swing so differently, directly correlated with who we are as a group of people in the ethnic diaspora. So what I would say, yeah, right now, it's a different animal, especially with Trump on the horizon again. And it is a very depressing and a mentally challenging thing to look at, because the value of who you are as a person is not understood. And that's problematic.
Okay, Playmate, I'm coming with you with this. Do you believe that? Some believe that code switch could be physically exhausting, or it's extremely exhausting. Do you believe that this can take a physical toll on a person who does it on a daily basis, or do it just conform to it? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I think anything in an extreme can be harmful, and I think that if you are a person that is, I mean, everything is just fabricated. I think that's a little bit different than just here or there, using some different words or dressing a certain way. I think those things are kind of minor, but if you're really just full out switching your whole life for not just for the 8 hours at work, but you're trying to do the image so that you can appear a certain way at home and all this other stuff. I think that can be very draining if you're quote unquote trying to not keep up with the Joneses, but try to be the Joneses. I think that could be very, very exhausting because you're not giving yourself a break. But in my experience, there's always a group of people that you can kind of, take a break from the crowd and kind of get together and be like, hey, man, what do you think about that? And, kind of relate to and have that relationship to. I've been fortunate to always have one or two people that I can kind of let the coach, let the mask down, and just kind of really be real inside of the corporate arena, and then go back to doing business at hand. So I do think it can be very exhausting if you allow it or if you let it overcome your whole life.
So, guys, this is a roundtable question, but I'm gonna start with you, Tori, to kind of get a feel, and maybe we can kind of take the conversation. Um, do you ever turn it off? I mean, I know Gary said, sometimes in corporate life, we got some people he can switch it off for a second or two and put it back on. Is it some people who never? Is there a fine line when you take it off or when you put it on, or it is all depend on the situation at hand?
I think it depends on the situation at hand. And like we were talking about the adaptability, it's just knowing it's an automatic thing too. When you walk into a room and you canvas that room, you know who your people are and you know who your people aren't. So it's like who do you gravitate to when you walk in a room? You usually try to gravitate towards your people. But if it is a business environment, and I know because we're doing a lot of events now to build business, uh, you have to navigate yourself around the whole. You have to literally talk to almost everybody just to get your name out there, to get your company out there, and it's how you adapt. Is it exhausting? Sometimes, yes, especially if you are the only one woman of color in the room. And then you hear things, and I'm going to tell you this: when you hear things, so this is what bothers me. When me and the girls are out sometimes, and a lot of people give compliments on the girls and how they are. But for me, when older white women give compliments, so like they'll say, Zoe always has a book in her hand. Even if we're in a grocery store, she could be reading while, riding the side of the cart or something. And random country white woman will say, oh my God, I love children that read. That's so good that they read. And, Zoe will say, probably start talking because I have these friendly country babies. Oh my God, they talk so articulate and well. And all in my mind, I'm thinking, will you be my maid? That's literally what I hear.
Yeah.
So yes, it is exhausting.
It is exhausting.
I want to say hells no.
But I'm gonna throw this out at you. I'm gonna throw this out this Q, and I want everybody's answer. I know I'm switching a little bit. Do you think that we teach code switching from a childhood?
Yes.
Do you? I mean, is it?
Yeah. You wanna? I can give you a perfect example. When we get in the store, don't enter, don't touch nothing, don't say nothing.
That's right.
Hey. Oh, here's another one. Here's an adult conversation. Keep stay in the child. Yes, y'all do from childhood. Y'all rather teach kids to be respectful than be themselves. So yes, I do.
Do you think I'm going to Ron? Do you think that's something that's intentional, or is that part of good raising? Is that an intentional thing that
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you something. Like different learning systems in terms of like Montessori teachings and stuff like that affords certain groups of people to have a educational experiences. That's a educational experience that's a little different from ours. But structure is never a bad thing, bro. Like, like when
so
you
you
go
think code
places,
switch is a part of structure?
and man, when I carry my name on my, I don't have the right to embarrass the name that I wear that my father gave.
Facts.
But it's
I don't.
also go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
I don't have the right to embarrass the name. When people see me, I don't have the right to misrepresent what my grandparents represented in that community. I don't have that right. There's an expectation to me that I'm supposed to live up to. That's just me. And I want my kid, I heard Jerome Bettis say, man, he said, man, his daddy said something that was real powerful. He said, man, I don't have a lot to give you, son. But what I do have to give you is a good name. And if I can give my son a good name or my daughter a good name, and that representation of who I am stands for what I am, excuse my language, but damn a code switch. What I want you to be is a person that represents our family and our bloodline in a functional manner that puts their best foot forward and that conducts themselves in a manner that's consistent with who they are. You always have to survey the terrain.
What was
And
your
the
thought?
terrain is going to dictate your response.
What
My
was your
thought is
thoughts?
I want to go back to what Quinn said about how we put it in our children. You have to think who put it in the parents. Our parents put it in us, and their parents put it in them. But also think of how we are only 2 generations removed from slavery. So code switching was to save lives, to keep you alive, especially coming up in Jim Crow times, and to make sure you got home safe as an African American child. So the things that our parents said to us is the same things that we say to, and my mother still says it to the girl when we go in this store, don't ask for nothing, don't touch nothing, and behave yourself. Well, I don't say it because disease are very well behaved for their age. I don't have to. They've never had a tantrum. They've always just been really good girls. But that's a form of PTSS too, because we're doing the same things. This has been conditioned in us to do as parents, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we also have to look at it from a historical point of view too, of why we do certain things. Why do we have to adapt? The adaptability became because we weren't wanted to be here. We didn't want to be here. They didn't want us. Now they really don't want us to be here. Like they're taking away all our history and all that good stuff. So we're living in the new Jim Crow, basically. So we literally have to adapt so that we're paying attention and watching moves that are being made. So maybe we can counterpart those moves.
Good stuff. Playmakers, what's your thoughts?
So I just want to add, piggyback on something that Toya said. I guess I'll just pull that thread. If you have a child that gets pulled over for the cops in the middle of the night, you want to hope that they know how to code switch and not just be too expressive and not come home that night. So I think it, like Toya was saying, was survival for back then, but even survival for right now. And then if you want to feed your family properly, and if you don't own your own business, then you're going to have to know. You will have to learn how to navigate in certain arenas in order to put food on the table to make sure you can provide for your family. So I think it's a necessity for some. Now, for others, it may not be as big of a deal. If you have your own business, you can kind of set your own standards in the workplace. If cash moves everything around us, so you have your own money, you can do kind of what you want to do. But if you're looking to work for the man, then you got to play some of the man's games. That's my thoughts.
Great stuff, guys. We're gonna leave it right there. Great topic, great topic. This is something for you guys to chew on. Like I said, I don't think code switch is a bad thing or a good thing. I think it's an adaptive thing which needs to be done when you need to be done. So, great topic. We continue. Hey, Q, what's your last thoughts for the night, sir?
Give me a second. Gotta get credit. There it is. Okay. An airport in Indiana put a basketball court in the lobby of their building. I don't know if anyone's seen that. Anyone
No.
seen that basketball court? They did it for All-Star weekend. So I was gonna say this, and this is a PSA to all the security guards working airport if they put this in airports. When I say there's a shooter in the building, I'm the shooter.
Good stuff, sir. Good stuff. RJ, your last words, man.
Man. Could you come back to me? I need to gather myself for a second.
No problem. Playmaker.
I'm gonna go with a quote, Mega Evers. You can kill a man, but you cannot kill an ideal.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Toya.
So we're in a time right now where y'all got to vote because underneath your nose, laws are being changed. Voting lines are being changed because of gentrification. Things are changing, and we're not paying attention to what is being changed because we don't read. But that's neither here nor there. We need to start really paying attention because we're leaving something for our children, and they are going to be the ones who inherit the BS. And like I said last week, it will take us 200 years to literally economically catch up if we don't do what we're supposed to do and realize that our dollars matter, and they matter a lot. They can't do this without our dollars. So pay attention, lead with love, and vote.
RJ. Good stuff, Toya. RJ.
I had a deep conversation today in relationship to Charlemagne the God and some of the people that get out and speak in relationships, vote, and things of that nature. And the one thing I took away from that conversation that as African Americans, we're not a monolith, but we must understand how to vote as a block and to let that block be not one finger, but a fist towards a better community. That's me.
Okay. 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 Good stuff. Good stuff. Mine was along the lines of voting, knowing that the elections are coming up this year. Find out what's your purpose. But I'm taking a different perspective. Don't be scared to do the hard work to get to the other side of your dreams. Don't be scared to put the time in. Don't be scared to put the resources in. Don't be scared to step out on faith and follow your dreams and put in the hard work. Everybody want to be successful, but nobody want to put the hard work into being successful. This year, if your dream was to start a business, it ain't gonna be easy, but go out there and start the business. Take the step forward. We took this step maybe a little over a year and a half ago, and now it's coming to fruition. So, if you got a dream, and it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be naysayers, but go ahead and chase that dream to the end. So that's my take. That's my last word. Hey guys, great show. Again, continue to tune in on our YouTube channels and our Facebook channels. Type in requests into Ask Toya. And like always, guys, may your next move be the game changer. Peace.